Sam would embrace it, meaning being on the team and having them draft his replacement. But he'd also go out and work hard and try to make the most of the opportunity to play this year and put it back on them and make them have to make a tough decision at the end of the year. And so Adam Schefter, he's talking about the possibility of the Jets drafting Zach Wilson, number 2, but keeping Sam Darnold. What are you hearing coming out of there as far as the Jets' plans?
Listen, I think that the Jets are listening to calls for Sam Darnold, but they will not just give him away. I think that they would trade him for the right price, whatever that price is. My guess is it's a late 1, 2, something in that range. I don't think they move on from Sam Darnold for anything less than a second-round draft choice. And if they don't get what they want, I don't think they wind up trading Sam Darnold. And now we're back into the situation that Mel and Dan addressed in the first hour, where essentially quarterbacks become assets. And you look to accumulate in this league as many assets as you can, even if it means having 2 quarterbacks, both picked in the top 3 picks of the draft. And so the Jets could be in that situation. Now, again, there are a lot of teams out there that have not addressed their quarterback need, but not as many as when the offseason began. We still don't know what Carolina is doing at quarterback. We still don't know who Denver is bringing in to compete with Drew Lock. And so what about a team like Pittsburgh and finding a potential successor to Ben Roethlisberger? What are these teams going to do? And will one of them step up and give the Jets what they want for Darnold? And if so, then they move on from Sam Darnold. If not, maybe you keep him. But I still think the Jets are tracking to pick quarterback at 2.
And it's worth pointing out that the Jets would get a compensatory 3rd-round pick if Darnold were to leave as a free agent after next season. So to get a 3 back right now, you're really gaining almost nothing relative to the situation you would be in a year later. So let me bring the rest of the guys in here. And the man who is synonymous with the draft, of course, is Mel Kiper Jr. And so I will start with you on this situation here, Mel. We all know where you stand. Anyone who has heard you or watched you or anywhere knows you believe the Jets should keep Sam Darnold and build around him. But if they do not, if that is not the direction they go, give us a sense of what you think Zach Wilson is doing, what he's bringing there, and what the Jets should do as far as Darnold's future.
Yeah, I think the problem I have with drafting Zach Wilson is that, too, Greeny, is you lose by not moving down Kyle Pitts and those 3 wide receivers. And now you have Zach, but you don't have that big-time receiving entity to help him, and you're moving Sam Darnold. So you could look bad on a couple levels. Sam goes and has success somewhere else, and all those 4 receivers all have great success, and now you have Zach Wilson. Now, they have improved that talent base. Zach Wilson has tremendous arm talent. We know what kind of potential Zach Wilson has. But Sam Darnold's only 23. We've talked a lot about Kyle Trask, the Florida quarterback. He's the same age right now as Sam Darnold, both 23. So you still have a quarterback who's gone through 3 rough years. He has had success. If you look at the last 4 games of 2018, last 9 games of 2019, last 4 games this year, he has had some real good stretches with a bad team, a questionable coaching staff, and talent around him that was inferior at a lot of positions. So now you give him better personnel, better coaching. Now he could maybe be what Josh Allen became in Buffalo, that progression that Josh showed this year to becoming an elite quarterback. If he is, then you can move Zach Wilson and get a ton in return. You imagine his value. He's like, why he wouldn't have played? Patrick Mahomes didn't play his rookie year either. Would he have not had great value if the Chiefs would have wanted to traded him? Then you think about now with Zach Wilson. And now if Sam's not the guy, then he'll just leave in free agency. He wasn't the guy. No harm, no foul. Now you develop Zach Wilson.
Now, the complicated part of all of this, we can get into the mentality. Well, let's just do it quickly, Dan, quickly. Again, the mentality of the quarterbacks here. If you're Darnold and you're there, and now you're Wilson and you get drafted and Darnold is still there, you know the way quarterbacks think. How does that work?
Yeah, I don't think it would go well. You know, and I don't know Sam personally, but I've heard that he's got like the great character and the great work ethic and the great kind of competitive nature, right? And so I think Sam would be a pro about it and handle it as good as he can. But at the end of the day, I think Sam Darnold would also sit back and be like, I want to be out. I want to go have my chance, because if the Jets are taking Zach Wilson, they're taking him in hopes and belief that he's going to go be their guy. And Sam Darnold's probably sitting there going, hey, guys, I would like the opportunity to go somewhere else, because reps are reps. Like at some point, you've got reps with a new offense, a new coaching staff. Like it's not as easy as like, hey, we're just going to let these guys both go compete. We might not have an offseason. We're going to let these guys both go compete and see what happens. And Mel, my question would be this. If this was to happen and Sam Darnold plays and he plays good football, doesn't Zach Wilson's or the viewpoint of Zach Wilson plummet? hey, Zach, why would I give up a haul for you now when you couldn't beat out Sam Darnold, who a year ago didn't have more than a third-round value?
What I would say to that is, Dan, that Sam's the guy, and they make that decision. Sam has an opportunity now to seize control of this football team. You talk about football, Dan. You played it. Nick played it. You guys are the ultimate competitors. Now, there's levels of competitiveness. There's 10s.
Sure.
There's 8s.
Sure.
There's 5s. So all football players are great competitors, but there's levels of that. Sam, is he going to be that 10? Is he going to be that Josh Allen? Hey, the players will go through a wall for Josh.
Right.
Will they do that for Sam? Can he seize control? If he does, it's his team. And then Zach Wilson has great value, tremendous value in a trade. His value doesn't diminish if Sam becomes the guy. If Sam isn't, he becomes just an average quarterback who's struggling. Then you develop Zach, and over a period of time this year, he becomes a starter, and you move forward, and Sam moves on as a free agent. I think to say that it's going to be a problem, I think this will test and will prove who the ultimate competitor here is. And if I'm Sam, I'm going to say, hey, just like Aaron Rodgers, you drafted a quarterback, let him wait. He's never playing here, and if he is, it's going to be a mistake. See, hey, you drafted Zach Wilson, he isn't playing here. This is my team.
Nick, in 15 seconds, how's this going to go?
Yeah, not well. I think once you play it out, it gets a little bit more silly once you think about it, because I think you don't want to add anything to make it more difficult for your quarterback to succeed. Whether he can succeed or not, keeping the old quarterback makes it more difficult for him to succeed. And also, the draft pick, it's just like a new car. As soon as you expend it, the value goes down exponentially. And whether it makes sense or not, no one's going to trade what they would trade for the number 2 overall pick. They're not going to trade the same thing for for Zach Wilson a year from now. It doesn't make sense. So if you think about this, the best case scenario, Sam Darnold plays really well. You have Zach on your bench. You get to the end of the season and you're stuck with what you think is a good situation. And then it goes the other way, and Sam Darnold's value goes down. I understand we got to get to commercial at some point, but it just doesn't seem to make sense.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.